Imagine you are standing in the basement of a destroyed house somewhere in Normandy, 1944. Behind the wall are three German soldiers. In your hands is a Thompson M1A1. You fire the entire clip, 30 rounds of .45 ACP, and all three fall. But 15 minutes later, two of them are already testifying to your commander. They are alive, wounded, shell-shocked, but alive. This is not a movie. These are statistics. According to American military medicine, the Thompson left an average of 2.3 wounded for everyone killed in close-range battles. For comparison, the M1 Garand rifle, 1 to 4. The Browning M1919 machine gun, 1 to 6. Why was a weapon designed specifically for close combat? For clearing trenches and buildings, so, merciful. The answer is not in the technical characteristics, not in ballistics, and not even in tactics. The answer lies in a fundamental misunderstanding of what it means to fight at arm's length, when you can see the eyes of the person you're about to shoot in the next second. But let's start at the beginning. From the moment someone decided that infantry needed an automatic weapon for the trenches. September 1918. World War I is coming to an end, but John Thompson, a retired colonel in the U.S. Army, doesn't know it yet. He's working on the concept of a .1, a compact automatic weapon that would allow a single soldier to sweep an enemy trench faster than he can fire a bolt-action rifle. The idea is not new. Since 1914, all sides in the conflict have been desperately searching for a solution to the bloodiest problem of trench warfare: how to attack a fortified position when the enemy has machine guns. The Germans created the MP-18, the first true submachine gun that fired 9mm parabellums. The Italians experimented with the Velar Perosa, but all of these models had one problem. They fired pistol cartridges. Thompson decided to go the other way. If this is a weapon for trenches, where distances are measured in meters, not hundreds of meters, why save on power? He chose the .45 ACP, the same cartridge used in the Colt M1911 Army pistol. On paper, it looked perfect. A bullet weighing 15 grams, a speed of 260 meters per second, an energy of about 500 joules. If it hits, it is guaranteed to stop the enemy. The rate of fire is 600 to 700 rounds per minute. The magazine holds 20 or 30 rounds. One soldier turned into a mobile firing point, but reality made adjustments. First, the war ended before Thompson was ready. The first production models rolled out of the factory in 1921. Too late for the trenches of Verdun. Second, the price. A single Thompson cost $200 like a good car. The Army was in no hurry to purchase expensive weapons whose purpose was unclear in peacetime. And here began the real story of Thompson, a story that no one planned. America in the 1920s. Prohibition, organized crime. Gangsters found the elegant submachine gun with a 50-round magazine to be the perfect tool for showdowns. That's how Thompson got its second name. Tommy Gun, Chicago typewriter, trench sweeper. February 14th, 1929, Valentine's Day, Chicago. 7 members of Bugs Moran's gang stood against the wall in a garage on North Clark Street. 4 men in police uniforms opened fire with Thompsons. More than 70 bullets in a few seconds. All 7 fell. But here the first strange thing was revealed. 2 victims survived until the ambulance arrived. One died in the hospital 3 hours later. The second, after 6. At the same time, from 8 to 14 hits were counted in each of them. Why? The answer lies in the ballistics of low-velocity heavy bullets. 45. ACP was designed for one purpose: to stop the enemy with one shot at a short distance. But stop does not mean kill. The bullet flies slowly, 260 meters per second against 800 to 900 meters per second for rifle cartridges. It does not penetrate through. It enters, creates a wide wound, transfers all the energy to the body, and gets stuck. This creates terribly painful wounds. The person falls, shock, blood loss. But if the bullet doesn't hit the heart, major blood vessels, or brain, a person can live. For hours. Sometimes for days. In military medicine, this is called, quote, 7. You're out of action, but not dead. 1939, the beginning of World War II. The Thompson finally gets its chance to prove that it's more than a gangster's toy. Britain, desperate for automatic weapons after Dunkirk, orders 100,000 units. The American Army, looking at the experience of the European War, begins large-scale purchases. But a technical problem arises. The original Thompson M1928 is too complex for mass production. The Blishaw bolt, the ribbed barrel, the ability to use round magazines, all this requires precise processing and time. In 1942, the design is simplified. Thus appears the M1A1, the version that became a symbol of the American infantry. What has changed? They removed the Blishaw bolt. They left the direct recoil. They removed the possibility of using round magazines, only box magazines for 20 and 30 rounds. They removed the recoil compensator. The barrel was made smooth. The weight decreased from 4.9 to 4.8 kilograms. The price dropped from $200 to $45. The military was pleased. Now it was possible to saturate the infantry with automatic weapons on an industrial scale. By the end of the war, 1.5 million Thompsons of various modifications were produced, and it was then that strange reports began to appear from the front. Italy, 1943. Battle of Monte Cassino. American paratroopers are clearing a separate fortified house. In a small room there are 4 German soldiers. A sergeant with a Thompson fires the entire clip from a distance of 5 meters. All 4 fall, but when they come to check, 2 are still breathing. One even tries to pick up the weapon. Normandy, 1944. D-Day landings. Rangers clear German bunkers. In cramped concrete rooms, the Thompson is an ideal weapon. But medical reports show strange statistics. For every German killed, there are 2 or 3 wounded, and the wounded are seriously injured, multiple hits, but without damage to vital organs. Southern France, 1944. French partisans armed with Thompsons from Allied dumps attack a German convoy. After the battle, 12 German soldiers killed, 31 wounded. At the same time, the French used about 800 rounds of .45 ACP at a distance of up to 50 meters. What is happening? The answer began to be sought at the Aberdeen training ground, where Army ballistics tried to figure out why the most-stopping bullet turned out to be so ineffective. The problem turned out to be multi-layered. The first layer, the physics of a low-velocity bullet. .45, thus the ACP flies slowly. This means that even at a distance of 10 to 15 meters, the bullet has time to lose some of its energy due to air resistance. When it hits the body, it does not create a hydrodynamic impact, like high-velocity rifle bullets. It simply pierces the tissues, pushes them apart, transfers energy, and stops. Imagine the difference. A .30-06 rifle cartridge flying at a speed of 850 meters per second when hit in the torso creates a temporary cavity with a diameter of up to 15 centimeters. The pressure inside the body instantly increases, destroying internal organs even without the bullet directly hitting them. This is called the cavitation effect. A 45 ACP at a speed of 260 meters per second creates a cavity with a diameter of 3 to 4 centimeters. The bullet destroys only what it directly touches. If it passes the heart, past the large vessels, past the spine, the person receives a terrible wound, but remains alive. The second layer, anatomy and chance. The human body is surprisingly resilient. The heart occupies approximately 0.5% of the volume of the torso. Large vessels, another 2 to 3%. The brain is protected by the skull, the spine by bones. Everything else, muscles, lungs, liver, kidneys, can be seriously damaged, but this does not mean instant death. When firing a Thompson on full automatic, the rate is 600 to 700 rounds per minute. This is 10 to 12 rounds per second. The recoil of the .45 ACP is relatively small due to the low velocity of the bullet, but the mass of the bolt and the rate of fire create the effect of lifting the barrel. The first shot goes where you aimed, the second 5 to 10 centimeters higher, the third even higher. The fifth shot in a row of 10 already goes into the air or into the ceiling. Therefore, a typical picture of hits when shooting a Thompson looks like this. 1 or 2 bullets in the stomach or chest. The rest are scattered around the arms, shoulders, or pass by altogether. The victim receives multiple wounds, but none are fatal. The third layer, the psychology of combat. And here the most interesting thing begins. Imagine the situation through the eyes of an infantryman. You enter a house. It's dark. Adrenaline overwhelms rational thinking. Your heart is beating at 180 beats per minute. Your hands are shaking. You hear movement behind the door. You break it down. You see a silhouette. Your finger is on the trigger. And here the underscore, quote underscore, 11 underscore, kicks in. You don't shoot in short, aimed bursts, as you were taught at the range. You squeeze the trigger and hold it until you run out of ammo. This is not a conscious action. This is the reptilian brain's reaction to a threat to life. Studies by American psychologists after World War II showed that in real combat conditions, about 60% of soldiers with automatic weapons emptied their magazines in one shot. At the same time, the effectiveness of hits fell from 40% at the range to 5 to 8% in combat. Thompson did it even worse. Why? Sound. 45 ACP in a closed room creates a sound pressure of about 160 decibels. This is a level that causes instant contusion of the eardrums. You shoot, and you yourself go deaf. A gas mask or helmet does not help. The only protection is earplugs, but who wears them in battle? Now imagine, you are in a room 3 by 4 meters, firing a series of shots with a Thompson. After the third shot, you can no longer hear anything. After the fifth, you are disoriented by the sound wave. You cannot judge whether you hit or not. You just keep shooting until the bolt remains in the rear position. And then, silence, buzzing in your ears, smoke from powder gases, and bodies on the floor. But they are moving. Pacific Ocean, 1945. Battle of Okinawa. American Marines are clearing Japanese bunkers. Thompson here is the standard weapon of assault groups, but the Japanese don't give up, even when wounded, even when hit multiple times. They keep attacking until they get shot in the head or die from blood loss. This forces a rethink of tactics. If Thompson does not guarantee an instant stop, you need to shoot longer. New rules arise. Double tap. 2 shots to the body, 1 to the head. But on a full automatic, this is unrealistic. Therefore, the fire switch is set to the semi-position, single shots. But then the whole essence of automatic weapons is lost. Commanders find themselves faced with a dilemma. Either soldiers spend ammunition excessively or switch to single fire, turning the Thompson into an expensive and heavy pistol. And that's when alternatives begin to appear. M3, grease gun, cheaper, simpler, but firing the same .45 ACP, M1 carbine, lighter, with a much longer range, but with a less stopping point, 3.0 carbine cartridge. And most importantly, the development of intermediate power cartridges, which will later lead to the appearance of assault rifles. But Thompson remains in the Army. Why? The paradox of the Thompson is that its greatest disadvantage was also its advantage. It did not kill instantly, but it guaranteed to incapacitate the enemy. And in the context of real war, this is often more important. A dead soldier is one less soldier. A wounded soldier is one less soldier plus 2 or 3 orderlies to pull him out, plus the burden on the medical system, plus the demoralization of the unit. From a purely pragmatic point of view, wounding is more effective than killing. But this only works against an enemy who values the lives of his soldiers. Against the Wehrmacht and the Japanese army in 1944 to 45, it works. Against fanatics who are ready to die, no. And here we come to the main paradox of the Thompson M1A1. A weapon designed to mercilessly destroy the enemy in the trenches turned out to be too humane for total war. It left living witnesses. It left behind wounded who could tell of the pain, the fear, the horror of automatic fire in a confined space. And perhaps that was its true strength, not in the number of those killed, but in the number of those who survived and remembered the sound of the Chicago typewriter,